Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans right here on the YouTube and the Twitch and wherever you get your podcast worldwide. I'm joined by the return of Alicia to the TNA program.
I'm here.
How you doing, Alicia? Welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here. How's it going?
It's going good. Obviously, we'll get into it. It will be a big news item, but obviously, everyone hoping everyone's staying safe as in preparation of the tropical storm, hurricane, depending on where you are in the south, and making your way up north, because obviously. We'll kind of start with the big news that happened later than even this time last night. And that was the official announcement by TNA Wrestling that they rescheduled the tapings this weekend in South Carolina. Instead of starting Friday and Saturday in Spartanburg, they are now pushed to where all the forecasts are saying the storm will then be out of the area to Sunday and Monday. So 2-day delay. Obviously, hopefully everybody can still make it there. Obviously, a lot of locals. I know there was some affected travelers. Like I said, I know someone coming from the UK for this show. And I know someone that was already in South Carolina. They got in there yesterday. So hopefully... Like I said, it was years ago back in the Impact Zone, but I remember being in Florida and a hurricane hitting the middle of a taping set. So it was like taping, hurricane, and then like 4 days later, taping. So definitely something, but I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't be able to make it. We've seen this over the last year or so where different shows, some talent couldn't make due to travel issues and all. And it would have been, especially going into Bound for Glory, a mess. So I think they did obviously the best thing for everybody, the fans, the talent. So hopefully everyone can make it work for them and still have, hopefully this kind of maybe gets everybody locally kind of some gumption after this storm to come out. Like hopefully they got some local people maybe already there to really like pound the pavement. But let us know in the chat if you are. I know there are some members of the TNI fam that were planning to attend this show. So let us know if that affected you, if you can still make it. Hopefully everyone can.
I guess it all depends, really. Because then you got to think about like aftermath, like with storms like that, power lines go down and all that.
You never know.
It could be worse depending on what area you're in, but
it is always a risk, no doubt. And that's why you play it safe. Like obviously, a lot of times, and I know you've seen it, Alicia. Like I feel like in our area in the Northeast, there's been indie shows where like it's a complete blizzard outside, and it doesn't get canceled, like it doesn't get postponed. But definitely it gets risky when you do that kind of stuff.
I was gonna say a CZW show years ago. I tried to go to, but it was blizzarding out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn around and go home. And that
happens. It does happen. Like a lot of times, people don't change their schedule, so I think that's a good thing that they're doing. Let me highlight a super sticker here from Dr. Gerbs. Thank you, Dr. Gerbs. Saw Heather Reckless on this week's episode of JCW Lunacy for a 4'11" chick. She's got a wicked springboard Spanish fly, also Bravo managing Congo Khan. So yeah, she, as we know, we've seen other knockouts. She is not tall in stature, but that does not stop her from doing.
I thought I was tripping out when I saw her standing next to the referee. I'm like, wait a minute. She got a big personality, so when you see her, she seems like tall. And then I'm like, wait a minute. But like, look at Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace is like 3 apples tall, and she's a powerhouse.
You can't mess Can't mess with Jordynne Grace. That's for sure. So yeah, she tells everybody about that. Like size does not matter. It's like the X division for the knockouts. Like it really like there are no limits to the knockouts division. Like you can be any size. It doesn't matter really. It's honestly amazing that it's not more of an issue at times. That it is working. I think part of it is making sure you're matched up with the right partner in these matches because. But yet Jordynne, I know like there was the one from NXT. I was like tall, and it was like, ooh, is this going to work? Or like like when Allison Kay came back, Sienna, same thing. It's like, oh, is that going to work? Because there's such a difference, and yet she can make it work. Like when you got the skills, you can do it. So quite a thing. Quite a thing we're able to see. Glad we want to thank our members here on the YouTube. Feel free to join. John Palmer. The blue in the thumbnail is oddly calming. So kudos to the TNA graphic design for that #1 contenders match, and also for our good pal J-Bone, feeling a little under the weather. So definitely wishing J-Bone a quick recovery. It is that time of the year as we're getting out of the summer into the fall. It feels like kids going back to school, everybody's getting sick, bringing it back. Just weather.
Well, it's end of summer flu season, so
it's the flu. It's about that time. Are you a flu shotter there, Alicia? Are you?
No, surprisingly, I rarely get the flu, and what I was sick with recently was a freak accident, I suppose.
I was like you, Alicia. I never got the flu. Never, never, almost like never in my life. But then I started doing the thing, like obviously when we had the big pandemic panini and was getting the other shots. It's like, oh, I guess I'll get flu shots now at the same time because why not at this point?
Right.
But it's just one of those things. If you never get it, you think, well, why do I need it? But I think that changed a lot of perceptions at the time. So I want to thank here Justin Miller, another one of our members here. Eating Fab, great show tonight. If you're in the path of the hurricane, stay safe out there. Can't agree with you more. And actually, I think there is someone here. Here Eli's saying they've added more seats. I'm sure with the day change, they're probably maneuvering some stuff. So hopefully they can get some more people out there. And I do see Eric Isaacs down in Atlanta. So hopefully, definitely stay safe down there, everybody. But good to see everybody in the chat. Nice seeing a nice crowd, and what a show. We'll obviously be getting into the review. Just going over, obviously, the big news on the taping changes. Obviously, for anybody, hopefully everybody knows it by now that was planning to attend. I'm not sure of all the communications I know they put on the social medias. I'm sure locally they have some information out there as well. But hopefully everyone obviously can plan accordingly. Otherwise, that's obviously the big news. Oh, wait, I almost skipped by it. Rayline, obviously Team Twitch. Thanks for the bits. Always appreciate it. Love the Team Twitch. Speaking of Team Twitch, I'm not sure if still live. I know was going live kind of right after the Impact Weekly show, but I saw Mean Gia Miller on the Twitch tonight. I saw Havoc is on the Twitch tonight. So just once again, other members of the TNA fam out there doing some content creation. Always like to support. So definitely give them a kudos out there.
I love Jessica Havoc's Twitch because she's a big gamer girl.
Oh yeah, she's always
she plays some fun ones. She plays the games that I'm too chicken to play, so I'm living vicariously through her gaming.
Spooky games, yeah,
like Resident Evil and I believe Fallout and a couple other things. So it's really cool. She's really talkative and she's vibing, so she does a good time. Her show is a good time.
Yeah, so kudos to the other members of the Twitch crew out there. Let me just see if any other news here. Oh, I see Dr. Gerbs. Shout out to Jake Something winning a title. Wasn't sure where, but always kudos to the roster members out there.
Thriving,
all over the
booked
place.
and busy.
Yeah. And we do know, obviously, because of this, I know one of the promotions, was it Prestige, I believe? Because of the date changes now for TNA, some of the TNA talent, like Jordynne Grace, had to pull off the show, I believe, with Sinner and Saint, and I think there was one other member. But so obviously things like that happen, but I think everybody understands. That's just kind of the world we're in when cards subject to change. It's always subject to change. So just got to kind of bear with it.
The truth. That's wrestling, baby.
That is wrestling, baby. Yes, and I know we talked about it last week, but once again, I know you weren't here, Alicia. Let me get your opinion on this. Because the undisputed truth here, talking about Steph De Lander having that major neck surgery at Victory Road. She announced it kind of like unexpectedly, I think. Like this kind of, I don't think really, well, I have confirmation that nobody at the company knew this. Like they knew it earlier that day, but they didn't know that this was
how serious
on the table and how serious it was.
Well,
so
obviously.
they just kind of gave her the mic to do whatever she wanted, really. And she kind of cut that promo on talking about everything in her career and now getting that surgery. But obviously, everyone here wishing her the best on
absolutely
a successful recovery. That's obviously very serious stuff when you deal with the neck. But thoughts on everything concerning Steph?
Just speedy recovery, safe surgery, speedy recovery. And, if it's meant to be, we'll see you back in the ring. If not, hopefully we'll find a different position for you within wrestling. I like that they're kind of teasing her helping Santino out.
That it feels like she's going to still play a role. She's not going to be totally away.
I hope so.
Which would be great.
I mean, obviously, for realistic reasons, she is going to have to take a little bit of time away just to recover. That's going to take a little bit, but hopefully they'll be able to fit her right in. She's got personality. She'd be a good addition to help Santino out if she can't, work in the ring. So why not? She's up for it.
Yeah. I agree with you, and I think all of us kind of remember, and you still see it today, but so common in the wrestling of the 90s, where if somebody did have a major injury from performing and was kind of on the shelf, but they were a great talker, a good promo, like Roddy Piper, Macho Man on commentary, Mr. Perfect, getting them in managerial authority figure commentary roles, as opposed to just not seeing a good talent being able to do anything. So that's hopefully that's the direction it goes. I'm in full support of that. So definitely wishing the best to her and her recovery.
Absolutely.
Other news I did see out there, and I see it got brought up here in the chat by Gary Rossetti. Good always to see Gary. Gary saying WWE wants Santino's name. And I know the whole thing about the trademark, where with Scott D'Amore, they saw that it was expired, so they put in for it, got it. But yeah, now there's some rumblings, but I know Santino's well, it's now TNA owns it now. But so yeah, that's something out there. I don't think it's any kind of big deal, because obviously we see how much WWE and TNA are working together, and obviously you've been seeing that.
Maybe is that why it's rumbling? Is this even official, or is this just rumor? Someone just put it out there, and I guess because no one can verify it.
Was right. San
Antonio.
Yeah, San Antonio Santino.
San Antonio.
He was talking about he was referencing this. He did some kind of interview, I think, that stirred this up about the whole how it all went down, and I think that's what got it all brewing again. But I wouldn't go too far with it. It was out there, it was a story, but I I don't think Santino
in a nutshell.
Hall of Famer. Yeah, and there's Critical Sting, and I think this is where it got traction. And PW Insider, that there's got to be like they at least talked about it, and they're not always like their track record has been a little spottier lately because they were wrong on some things in the last year. I think some of their sources were the Moore era stuff more than current. So once again, but that's why I wouldn't get too crazy with it. But speaking of Scott D'Amore and the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, I did want to give a shout out to another TNA alum that is now booked for their shows as the backstage interviewer, Mackenzie Mitchell. So another former face we all know, who was pretty much the pre-Gia at the time.
Okay.
NXT. Yeah.
Right.
So she pretty much filled that role before and was kind of doing stuff with Melissa Santos. Like they were kind of both doing it for a bit. But now.
Oh, Melissa Santos. What's she doing?
I think she went to AEW in some capacity, but I don't know.
Okay.
They have like 1 million backstage announcers there, so I don't know how much she gets used currently. But I believe she was doing something.
Shame. What a shame.
Yeah, like I think she's fantastic. But that goes down. I'm going to be like Jay with his Flow Slam, like the old Lucha Underground days.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, big fan. Like obviously Gia, top.
Oh, top notch.
I got my Gia shirt on tonight. So
I have a Gia shirt.
It's all about Gia. I have 2 Gia shirts.
I just want to say she is killing it with Ace Austin in Pro Wrestling Revolver.
She is.
What a different character.
Very different. I do wonder if we will see that at some point.
God, I fucking hope so. Excuse my language, but
because we haven't got. See, even a sick J-Bone hears Flow Slam. But yes, I hope we get that as well. I'm a huge fan of Gia the interviewer, but getting like now, obviously we had IPWF back in the day. Wink, wink, hint, hint of a character similar to what she does there, but her going into that direction, and I just feel the more she does that in Revolver, I think we're gonna get it at some point.
I hope so,
because as we talked about it here, like she signed a 3-year extension. That's a long extension. Mm-hmm. That feels like possible wrestler extension more than even just like a commentator. But she's doing it all. Like kudos to her. She's backstage interviewing, commentating, and obviously valet wrestling other places. So we'll see. But yeah, you know, just like with Lish, I'm a huge fan of the valet and things like that, and the stuff she does with Ace Austin and ABC. That could be great. Do you think better as a face or like a heel run for maybe Ace / ABC? Gia in a role like that? Because I know her. I think they've kind of been both. Like at least Gia has. It feels like in Revolver, but more face, I guess, is kind of what it is now. Just the Revolver stuff, but we'll see. And I think, speaking of J-Bone there, he had one more comment I want to highlight here. There it is. Jordynne Grace has an exclusive limited edition T-shirt on sale tomorrow. That's on PWTs, not on like Shop Impact. But I did see that advertisement.
Wow.
Yeah, so heads up for that. Obviously support Jordynne. I'm sure if you look at her social media, it will be out there. I don't know if it's on anywhere else, but I do know it was on there. I saw it advertised. Or I got an email about it. So I think that's it. You know what? I think there was one other piece of news that I saw somebody bring up in the chat. I just want to make sure to highlight before I go. Oh, there it is. Justin, from 12 p.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. So like it's a quick sale on it. So just FYI to everybody.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. So obviously, anybody else that wants to throw some news in there or anything else, feel free to throw it in the chat. We can discuss it as we go over the review. But we will take a dip into the September 26th edition of Impact.
Oh boy.
On Access TV and TNA Plus. And I'll tell you, now, Alicia, did you watch last week's television?
No.
Show?
I am 3 weeks out of the loop, man.
Okay, so you missed the special Victory Road, and so this is your first look at the San Antonio crowd.
Yes.
What did you think about this crowd tonight on tonight's show?
They were chanting weird stuff.
I think that's what you have. There is part of that when you get a bigger crowd, like you get a more, like not just the hardcores. Like you get more of the casual fan. We'll call it that whole casual fan.
I guess.
I think they had energy, but you're right. The chant stuff that we've seen that at some of the bigger shows, like in Canada, like some of the bigger shows, like sometimes they can get a little unruly.
Like, why are you chanting? We want tables at a match that doesn't even have tables.
Tables.
You know, like I get having fun.
It's become a chant now, yeah.
But now you just make it weird. Like it's a weird vibe when you guys are just yelling out whatever. Like
people don't know the. Like, I'm sure you
if you don't know what to yell someone's name. It's really not that hard.
Like, did you see Not Another Teen Movie?
Yes.
Tell me you did. Okay.
Of course. It's my generation.
Yeah, okay. That's what I figured. The guy that tries to start the lone clap.
Oh, yeah, but
he doesn't know when.
Off.
And that's what people do at wrestling shows because they want to be the person to start the chant. But then they're chanting stuff that doesn't make any sense half the time.
I just yell stuff in accordance to how I see it in live action, but I'm not going to yell for tables when there's
at least it was a wrestling chant. At least it was a wrestling chant, but it wasn't appropriate for the match.
I guess that's like what? Like what a way to kill the vibe.
We're a victim. We're all a victim of the what chant at this point.
No, I've never yelled it.
I don't do it. I don't do it at all. But that's become a wrestling. Blame the attitude era.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, even at like indie shows, the schmindiest of indies, man, I have heard the what chant, and I just don't get it.
Well,
I get what,
and I give credit. You got to cut a promo without pauses. People can't handle a pause.
Well, because a talking segment is asking a lot out of an audience, especially if it's someone who doesn't talk. Regularly.
Wrestling is taking a lot out of audience these days.
Well, especially nowadays, there doesn't seem to be intermissions anymore, and I can't handle that.
I need an intermission.
I need like a good 15, 20 minutes to like recollect myself, man. Oh, that's well,
these are things that have happened in the wrestling industry. I do want to hit because people are talking about it. It's Anthem related. It's not really TNA related. I don't think there'll be an effect on it. But I saw both Roger Pace here talk about TNA's collaboration with Hollywood. And now when you say Hollywood, you're like, well, what's that mean? Let me follow it up here with this other comment, and I'll tell you what that means. Antonio Baker here. You talk about the 4 new networks that Anthem bought in Canada, and that's what they were referring to. They're Hollywood channels, or the company's Hollywood. So Anthem in Canada has purchased additional networks that feature. It's mainly movie networks. But once again, that's a great thing. Anthem expanding. That's what we talk about all the time, especially for Access TV here in the States. That's the key. You got to get in those, even though streaming's becoming more the way, and with TNA Plus, hopefully a lot of you are watching it. But they need to be on the easiest tier of cable to get to, for you can get in the most homes possible to get in front of the most eyes. That's what's great about the NXT relationship is USA Network and then the CW, which they'll obviously be going to next week with probably the Motor City Machine Guns, FYI. That's a key. Like, just get more people seeing the product, eyes in front of you. And then just news-wise on that, talking about CW, remember, Alicia, you may have heard that news a while back that NWA was on the CW, but they were on the streaming app. They weren't really on. There with the Alicia wrestling shows you go to, they're probably chanting, "We need an ambulance." Not wrong.
That's for the crowd, though, not the wrestlers.
There
It's a little dangerous.
But heck,
I'm not gonna lie. I've been hit with glass.
I have been hit with glass. I have taken pieces of glass out of my head. Now, small pieces of glass, mind you. I like to think I'm quick like a cat to avoid any major shards. But I will admit, like, you don't even know. It's like sand at the beach. You get home that night from a deathmatch show, and all of a sudden you're in the shower, and you're like, "What's this? What's this? What's this?"
Yeah,
I'll have to manscape it out. Help me, manscape. Manscape the glass away.
Whew, that's a way to do it. But true, like, I don't know, man.
But speaking of the NWA, which was on the CW app, they will no longer be on the CW app in anticipation of NXT. Was that officially a thing that had to be done? Probably. Don't have confirmation, but the timing is more than curious. So that is that.
I was.
I like that we're just going symbols. XPW show with emojis.
Yeah, it's not my fondest memory.
That one I was not at. I think I was at TNA.
You didn't miss anything. It was terrible.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been there.
The guy, let's just say that guy doesn't have much of a career.
That tends to happen. Oh, and Job Palmer, because it's a personal favorite that I dislike. It might be we won't get into it. I think a lot of people that know me know the chants I don't like. Because they're chants, and you'll even see me. I will not mouth the words to these chants, but maybe I'll clap along, but I will not ever chant them. But like, One Fall is up there. Fight Forever might be the worst. No, they'll fight to a specific time until there's a pin or a submission. But One Fall, it's got to go.
Fight Forever just sounds like a full-time job. Ugh.
Yeah, like it's really bad. And I think when it first started, it was good. But man, This Is Awesome is so overrated. It's like so overdone.
We're still on the chants.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, you got the chant. People were popping off on the chants. Like the chat was all over the chants.
They chanted.
He's a fan of the One Fall. I don't. That's why I am such a fan. And David Penzer, he might be in the chat, of the ring announcers that do a style that doesn't allow it. It's no pause. Just like we talked about with the what chant. It's the anti-pause. And I love it. I love anti-pause. Pause? brings out the worst in wrestling fans. Because they got to fill the gap. They don't know how to let it breathe. Got to let it breathe. But once again, my opinion, do what you like. But now that we kind of continued on some news, we'll actually get to the review now. Back to the review. So, pull it back up here since I just clicked off of it. But we did have a debut tonight, which we'll talk about, which is very cool. And we have a new number 1 contender. But let's start it out with tag team action. And it really did start immediately. Like, we got the recap of last week. So hopefully you did see that part. They can kind of keep you up to date. Although we will address the one when we get to the match, when you asked me right before we went live, Alicia, because it hasn't really been addressed on TNA television, but it was kind of addressed on NXT television, not this past week, the week before. So, but we'll get into that. So we start out with Knockouts tag action, a team we've been seeing develop on both NXT and TNA. That would be Wendy, Choo, and Rosemary against Jordynne Grace and a mystery partner that we were informed by the liaison, the great Ariana Grace, no relation to anybody on the TNA roster that I know of, told us one of her best friends, someone that I don't know if you're familiar with or not, Alicia, but I know she's gotten some push down there in the last year or so, Soul Ruca. As the tag team partner for Jordynne Grace. What did you think of this matchup, and were you aware of Soul Ruca?
No, I have no idea who she is, but she was pretty cool. Hey, I got a lot of respect for people who can do funky shit that she was doing when she first jumped in the ring, and
she could.
She's tall, she's athletic. I think she had a good look. Although I gotta say, where's Havoc? Where's my girl Havoc?
She's on Twitch, I think, right now.
She's on Twitch. But real fucking talk, you better be bringing my girl Jessica back because
I will 100% agree to that. I will sign on that dotted line. Now, once again, that's not saying because Havoc, we've seen her as a solo act. We've seen her with Rosemary. We've seen her as a Death Doll. She can do all that. But I'm a big proponent of the return of Havoc. And maybe it's the return of like the Havoc Death Machine, like former Knockout World Champion Havoc.
Yeah,
bring the mask back. Let's go all in. Like maybe that's what you do. So
and put the belt on her, man.
They're just waiting. Hopefully, they're just waiting for the time. But what now? And let us know in the chat what you thought, because I know we get a lot of NXT viewers, but just wrestling viewers. What's your thoughts on Soul Ruca? Like, well, what are your thoughts on her? Like, once again, just like Alicia said, I was very impressed. Wouldn't mind seeing her again in a TNA ring. And who knows? With this kind of back and forth with NXT, I think we might get that. So I know Courtney there. She watches it all. So she's a fan. So that's good to see. Everybody has an opinion here, and I think one of their up and coming talents. It does feel like someone that they've been, because I know that's been one of the criticisms. We talk about it every week, where it'd be like, oh, they're not getting the equal talent like they're bringing to NXT. But I don't think that should be part. Like, go ahead, Alicia.
I was gonna say that some of the girls that have come over, I don't really remember their names. One of them was Peyton or Paxley.
Peyton Paxley, yes.
Peyton Paxley, okay. Her and a couple other girls, Soul Ruca, they're kind of proving to be kind of a better talent than what they have on the main rosters. I feel more impressed with what they kind of did coming in than I feel like I would be with a lot of people. Unless it's Rhea Ripley, but she's built different. No hate on her. She's the queen. But everybody else I feel like is kind of stale on the main rosters. So
you're actually enjoying the NXT
yeah,
females on the roster than really even some of the main roster talent.
yeah. I
Other
feel
than
like
a handful of names.
these are good opportunities for these women. So to be able to come on to TNA and kind of get their name out there in a new crowd, like that's really big for them.
Yeah, I think it's all
Yeah.
about opportunity. I think that's
Mhm.
100% and I think that's what people might not look at, but it's all about opportunity. That's what WWE and NXT want. They want opportunity. Get these
And
ladies in front of a
people
live crowd, show their stuff.
who have potential to like evolve, you know what I mean? It's like these girls are new, but like there's something there that like kind of sticks out to them. Like I felt like Tatum was you could tell she channeled a lot of Daphne in her performance and who she was
100%.
developing as a character.
We both like
And I
that.
have a
We're
lot of
both big
respect
Daphne
for that.
fans. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this little Ruca, I feel like she hasn't found her gimmick quite yet, but when she does, she's already got the skills. So it's just a matter of finding what works for her as far as a gimmick. And she's going to the top, man.
Yeah. You can see that's the thing. I think people look at it like very in the now and not the future. But I think you're going to see in like probably 2 years max a handful of these talents that have showed up during this partnership, and they're like main roster staples, like main event stars. Like some of these people this is gonna happen, and you'll be like, oh man, they were in TNA. But it's a very cool thing that they're doing here. Once again, and it's something that if you told me they were doing this a year ago, I would have been like, no way this is going to happen. Like this is just, they're not going to do something like this. But this is something that I think the wrestling world has really been clamoring for. But once it happens, you get everybody being in their tribal instincts to want to hate on things. But it's actually, I think it's being successful for everybody. I think and the biggest winners, us, the fans. Because you're right, it does make for and it's good sometimes, like when they go to a town and they highlight a local performer, give them a chance at some of these, like that's always cool. But to see this talent that you would never see for really any other reason show up, I think that's very cool.
Yeah. It's like Heather Reckless. We've seen her a handful of times, and now we finally have her on the roster. And I know a lot of you guys were definitely asking for her every time she came around. So
she made impressions. Hey, Masha did the same thing years ago. Like she was working like the New York tapings in like explosion matches. But she was killing it on the indies, developing her gimmick. Which she didn't have yet at the time. And look what she is now. Most people think that should be the one to dethrone Jordynne Grace. You can't get higher than that. Because that's going to be the maid. Like you're getting made by whoever eventually does that. But finishing up on the tag opener here, we get a no contest in the end because Tasha Steelz gets involved and attacks Jordynne Grace, and then Masha comes in as you saw the implosion of the
Masha versus Tasha. Now that's the feud I'm trying to see, yo. We can't be mad at Tasha. She's our favorite, so she did nothing wrong.
I'm with you.
But okay, so I've been out of the loop. Let me ask you this. So Masha and Alicia aren't Militia anymore. It's Alicia
and Tasha.
Alicia and Tasha now.
Yeah. They pushed Masha out.
I like it.
Like we all saw it coming. Like eventually they were gonna, Alicia and Masha were gonna not work it out. And obviously it happened now. But no, I think it's cool. And it's good that Tasha's now getting something to really stick her teeth into storyline wise. Because it felt like once Deanna left, kinda like Tasha was just kind of out there, like wasn't really in an angle.
Yeah.
Now she's in a major angle. Like you get involved with Lish and Masha, you're right there, top of the
Yeah.
storyline.
Tasha's electrifying, so
she is. So I'm very excited by this. So looking for good things. Do want to highlight Mario's message here because I did see this come up yesterday or the day before. Did you hear in an interview Angelina Love wanted to come back to TNA? And yes, the interview I heard was, I believe, Angelina, and she's with Psycho Boy, who was part of Control Your Narrative, or Fodder, also known as. And I know she did an interview where talked about would like to be, I believe it was, she mentioned TNA. She may have also mentioned MLW as well, as like be interested in maybe working with either company. And that's always something that does come up. Obviously, I've stated before, I'm a huge fan of the beautiful people. So I would always welcome any member to show up from time to time. So maybe depending on where they are or something, it wouldn't be the worst thing to maybe look into. Because what was she? 5-time Knockouts champion, Angelina Love? Like she was an early trendsetter for the most titles in the division. So definitely somebody that you could do something with, at least an ad.
right.
But your thoughts on maybe that, the return as we finished up the Knockouts tag match, one of the legendary knockouts in TNA.
If she fit in to come back, let her. You know what I mean? She did a good job when she came back for the 1000th episode. So
very impressed by them for that 1000th episode.
I mean, they still got it. I mean, yeah. I know Velvet's on sidelines in cheerleader mode due for obvious reasons, but like even if she came back as like her manager, or even if it's just Angelina Love alone,
yeah,
she's the total package. So why not? It's like I feel like we're at a point where we need to like expand the women's roster, and we haven't had like a veteran in a while since Mickie James made her exit. So I think it's time to have someone back in the saddle again, you know?
Back in the saddle. John Palmer mentions, because you did miss this by not seeing last week's episode, but you would. I think we all enjoyed this. At least you did get to see the Hardys give Masha the rub, because it was a intergender 6-man tag match, 6-person tag match. So it was the Hardys and Masha tagging together last week. But that's got to be pretty. And I know we highlighted it on the show. Like she has she had a picture of her in Rahway, New Jersey, as with Matt Hardy, and now she's like, now I'm tagging with him, which is very cool.
That's wrestling. You don't get to see that
happen. Yeah, you don't get to see that happen that often. So that's very cool. So we go backstage. Gia Miller with a man severely lacking serotonin, Frankie Kazarian, who just couldn't stop playing with his scarf long enough to do an actual interview.
What is Kazarian?
What is Frankie Kazarian? That is the question we always have. What
do we? I like it though. He when he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's better. I don't know.
but he's pretty much saying he's saying he's gonna, because Nick Nemeth's gonna be on commentary for the #1 Contender main event, and he's saying that he's gonna defeat Joe Hendry right in front of him, and that he's gonna face him at Bound for Glory. So we go back in ring for our next match, and we get Laredo Kid right there in Texas, going against Jonathan Gresham. And as we see, he's just Jonathan Gresham anymore. The moniker, with the ink, not seeing it there anymore. But what did you think of this contest?
I feel like it was pretty standard, pretty typical.
Now, what'd you think about the ending? Because it seemed like with all those knees, like, are we getting maybe a return to form of Gresham showing that maybe a little bit going dark again? Because, like, it seemed like he was, remember, Gresham's Mr. Honorable normally, but, like, then now he's back to normal Gresham. But then at the end, he was like, kind of trying, like, to really go after that knee of Laredo Kid. I don't know.
A little aggressive.
A little aggressive.
Well, I feel like when you start spitting up black ink and making other people split up black ink, and then that suddenly goes away all of a sudden, it's not really gone.
It's not really gone. You still got the ink.
Still waters run deep, and with Jonathan Gresham, I believe
still waters runs deep.
That it is deep and expansive, because that's why he's the Octopus Man.
That's why he's the Octopus Man. See, we got Octopus Man, we got Whiskey Man, we got all the mans on.
I know. I get really
Serotonin Man.
Serotonin Man.
All right, so now we get a very we get a Blake and you missed it segment where Mike Santana's backstage and he just busted into the System's locker room and all you hear,
they were partying.
They're having a little celebration, a celebration in there, and all you hear is like he has his chain and you just hear the chain just like you think he's in there just twirling it around for like 30 seconds.
Like Roadhouse.
Very much like Roadhouse. But obviously we know, I think Tom Hannafin said it right after the segment, Mike Santana is not done with the System. I think we've got that confirmed.
Certainly not.
Now, Critical Sting, I will, and I don't know if I'm trying to remember what day they posted it. I'll look back on the social media, but they're advertising, obviously, matches for Spartanburg. And they're advertising, as Critical Sting says, Octo Muda, which, good name for him, but the version of the mask, the one that spits the ink, versus Josh in Spartanburg. So we might see it again. And it does feel like it's got to come back, because they put all that effort to create that character, and then they just kind of bailed on it out of nowhere. So I'm left wondering what. Nice reference here. M. Night Shyamalan reference, which I always like to see, by Eli. Jonathan Gresham is the wrestling version of the movie Split. And speaking of that, Alicia, unlike J-Bone, who's back there sick, and normally doesn't see any movies I reference, but yet Alicia does. Have you seen Split and the Unbreakable trilogy?
Yes, I have.
See, that's what I like to hear. What are your thoughts? Like, Unbreakable, obviously fantastic, right? Unbreakable is great.
I
or
think
do you
that's
like Split better?
No, Split wasn't the best. Unbreakable would probably be because it's the one that's like the introductory movie, right? It's the first of the three.
And Glass is obviously the third.
Yeah, I didn't love Glass as much. It was just kind of like, right? Isn't M. Night Shyamalan the director of those movies?
Oh, yeah.
So go figure, right? But there's a twist, and it's never good. So, Unbreakable is probably the best.
Series? Look at J-Bone. He saw. There you go. He's an M. Night guy.
He's a Bruce Willis guy.
And Bruce.
You've seen Die Hard, right, J-Bone?
Oh, Die Hard.
It's still a Christmas movie. I know, guys.
Best Christmas movie of all time. Like, I just feel like having the eggnog when I see Hans Gruber fall off Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah, there you go.
Love Bruce. Everybody loves Bruce. All right. Back to the show. So now we talked about it a little earlier. Well, this is referencing what me and Alicia talked about right before we went live. It's our 6-man tag match where we get Leon Slater, KUSHIDA, and X Division champion Mike Bailey against the ABC and Zachary Wentz, which then, Alicia, you can say, what did you ask me because of this matchup?
Oh, where's Trey Miguel?
Very solid question. I think most people would be asking it. I know me and Jay were kind of asking it for at least a week on the TNI show, maybe in the 2 weeks. And on not this week's NXT, but the week before, we saw that Trey was laid out in the parking lot. So, like, he was taken out for TV. But I feel like they really haven't referenced it much, or maybe they did they may have. I think they referenced it on last week's episode after it aired on NXT. But I believe what we had heard a week or so before was a minor surgery that he had that was keep him out for San Antonio. But once again, obviously, hopefully he'll be back up and running with doing his rascally things soon. So, but getting to the tag match, what'd you think of this? You got a lot of X Division talent in there.
Yeah, you would say that. It's hard for me to keep up with these X Division talent because they move so fast. They're like lightning in the ring.
They are. Like, it's, yeah, obviously Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Zach Wentz, KUSHIDA, Mike Bailey. Like, you're talking X Division titles left and right in this match. Like,
yeah.
And Leon Slater, world of potential. That guy is crazy stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely outstanding. My question was, though, is that last I knew is Zachary Wentz was the X Division champion, correct?
Correct.
And then obviously he gave it back.
At Victory Road. He lost it at Victory Road. Yeah, he won the title at the Ultimate X. And then he brought it to NXT and defended it. But then he went to Bailey, got his rematch, and lost it. Kind of shocking. Like, we were surprised. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't think Bailey would get it back that quick. And that could go into, you could go into maybe what you think that might mean, because we knew Bailey's contract was up at the end of the year. So I don't think people thought he'd get it back. But maybe that means he's re-signing. Who knows?
It could be anybody's guess. My whole thing is that that's kind of a good thing. I've been saying for the longest time that putting the belt on someone and making them champion for 3 years is like a bad business move. And so once in a blue moon, there has to be hot potatoes.
You got to.
And
other than the world title, I get it for the world title if you want to keep that. And the Knockouts world title, if you want to keep them long-term belts, fine.
I disagree. No, I believe, because I was having this discussion with Stefan, like Jordynne Grace. They put kind of pigeonholed her into a position where it doesn't matter who she's against, Jordynne's going to win. Jordynne's going to win. So what happens one day, hypothetically, Jordynne's in a match with Xia Lee and Xia Lee. And she goes, oh, what's that over there? And Jordynne looks and she rolls her up quick, gets the pin. Okay, fluke win. Oh my God, it's a disappointment. But then next week, Jordynne smokes her and gets the belt back. Yeah. Hot potato that shit. Make it interesting.
Yeah. Oh, no, you got to have it once in a while.
Yeah. Because now we're at a point where it doesn't matter if it's someone coming from another company, someone in our own. They've just pitched. I love Jordynne. Don't get me wrong. This is great. This is great for her. But when you make it so no one is competition for her, then where does she go? It's plateaued.
It makes it very tough. Like, I know you wanted to have that main moment for whoever.
I want that heel turn.
Well, that's something you could always do too. In the middle of a long run, is go heel or face, depending on what they currently are. But I'm with you. Like, you got to have belts that change. You can't just sit on your belts the whole time.
Because then, it gets boring because it's like, oh, all right, we have a new champion, and now we got to beat the last champion's record, and we got to beat that champion, and
that
then
gets
you get
old. A lot of people, that becomes lazy storytelling. If you
it
just want
makes
to
me not
go
want to tune in.
yeah, like that. I agree with that. You got to be careful. I can respect a good run, like a lengthy run. They can be good, but if you have multiple lengthy runs on a roster, that's one too many. Because you do like, and then I know we use the term hot potato because I think there is like actually hot potatoing, like where you actually are like every, I would say within 3 months is a hot potato, like on TNA. Like if you have a new champion from going January, by the end of March, that's a hot potato. You go beyond that, I won't call it a hot potato. So you could do that for maybe 1 to 2 belts that you have currently. But then the other ones maybe stick to that 5 months, 6 months, stuff like that. There you go. Welcome back.
I don't know, man. I feel like we've been in too long of an era where we're getting these really long reigns, and then it's really stale.
And we had it for a while. Like there was a tag team one. We had in the X division. Like it's almost
digital
every
media, like all
runs,
of them,
like super
exactly.
And
then it comes to a point where, but it's like you're saying. So Wentz lost the belt to Speedball, right? And you said you were shocked.
Lost at Ultimate X, not to Speedball. Like he lost in a match where the odds are against the champ. To be fair,
all right. Well, then
he didn't lose it
that kind of defeats. Because either way, it's like shocking, but it's like you want shocking in wrestling. We want to be surprised. We want to be like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming.
Strong still. Speedball didn't look weak in losing.
Yeah.
But once he regained it back, now it just makes him look super strong.
Yeah.
Like no one could beat him.
Who's the digital? Who is that question right here? Who is the digital media champion?
PCO. The Perfect Creation won. And I believe we do have some news on that. Because I think a match was made for Bound for Glory here. We'll get to it. It's later in the show. So I'll wait till that segment. We're almost there. We're almost there. But I'll wait till that segment of the show to discuss.
We're not on our speed run tonight.
We're getting we're going slightly over.
That's okay.
But that's okay. Yeah. Well, we had some news that I thought might rile people up, but we're going to keep on chugging along here. So obviously, I see Mayor did throw in there that he did not defend it. He brought the title to NXT and won his match with Wesley, but he was wearing the X Division title. It technically was a non-title match, though.
Right.
But a lot of that was to show another belt on WWE TV, which I can't fault the company for doing.
No.
Smart business right there.
Certainly not.
But Zach Wentz gets the pin in this match.
Yes.
On Leon Slater. So Wentz and the ABC win this match. So big win for those guys. See what comes out of that. Then we get an amusing backstage segment. Hammerstone and Jake something. The buddy cop comedy you never knew you wanted. Doing some working out. It's like Gold's Gym in there, and they get interrupted by Cody Deaner. Telling Jake he's making bad choices. And Hammerstone gets on him and kind of pretty much puts out a match challenge, and he's doing it for the people. He's gonna accept that challenge of a match. But it was very amusing. And I actually took a line here from it was Hammerstone that I might like to get as an audio bite in the future.
He's a funny dude.
As Jake was doing his lifts there, he says, "Empty the clip." It was good stuff. Good stuff. So, such gym talk.
Whatever Hammerstone and Jake something have going on, I'm here for it.
I'm digging it. I'm digging that dynamic. I want more of that
bros being bros.
Oh, we got to
welcome. It's going to be healthier than the relationship he has with Cousin Diener, because holy shit. Hello, Daniel. Referee Daniel
Bear's
Spencer.
Already making threats on the main event. Because there's
just guys being dudes.
There's guys being dudes.
Just dudes being bros.
But then, all right, so after this, we get our debut. Much advertised the last few weeks with vignettes, but we get Lei Ying Lee. I believe is the correct pronunciation. The former Xia Lee, as we've talked about. Again, someone we have seen multiple times before in TNA and Impact, and that's Hyan, who is big on the, obviously I've seen her around the country, but definitely very big in the Texas area. But what did you think of this debut, Alicia? And I don't know how much you've seen of her previously.
I thought Katana from Mortal Kombat. Cool gear. I don't know who she was. Me and Stefan were both like, who is this? But she's cool. She, you know me, I'm not actually the biggest fan of kind of having someone debut against someone no one knows.
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't say no. I said that wrong. That's very rude of me. Not someone no one knows, because Hyan's been around a couple of times, but not like a roster member. So like,
I get you. I understand.
I get it, but it's not my favorite, but I understand why it needs to get done. I'm just very hopeful that we don't get 3 months worth of squash matches for her. I hate that recipe. I like to see them find something for them to do, like they have for Heather Reckless, who's involved in a major storyline. So,
yeah, I think you might see that maybe one more time, maybe a local market. But then I can see maybe her, because she has the former relationship, maybe against some NXT talent. Like maybe that's kind of a way,
right?
Like once again, you're not going, because I guess the tough part right now, especially with all the changes in the knockouts division lately, is who you go to. Because remember, I don't know if Lish will be cleared. Like I don't know if Lish is even on the table. But who is that Havoc we haven't seen come back yet? Who are those members to debut new talent against on the roster?
Mm-hmm.
It might not be a deep pool right now.
That's why I was saying is like we really like bringing Angelina Love potentially back in. We really need to deepen the waters a little bit because it's just not a solid wrestler is just not a solid roster right now for the women's division.
Yeah, like you got a lot of high-end talent, but then with the knockouts division, there's only so many people you can do. So you got to utilize some local talent. But then the NXT thing, that's kind of a game changer because you can play around with that a lot.
And they've been doing good with that.
Yeah. I think that's going to help.
Some of it I don't love, but like otherwise it's been fine.
I feel unless they really want to push her quick, I could see the NXT thing and her lining up for angles. And I know I've been talking about
but we might also want to remove her from that because she's coming from NXT and to just be like, oh, well, she's familiar with the NXT roster. Let's just kind of put her in matches with these people. Let's let her expand like everyone else has had the ability to do so to separate themselves from their NXT.
Yeah.
Time.
You don't want to get them totally associated.
Like
we
look
saw
at Ash Elegance
once. Yeah. She showed up that one time, not in a match, interfered, never again.
Yep.
Like they didn't overdo it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Gotta be careful how you handle. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We go backstage. Mike Bailey with Leon Slater. telling him to kind of keep up. He's the future of the X division. Can't disagree with that statement. I think even J-Bone said in the chat there, pretty much Leon Slater won the watch, I believe, in 2025. Yep, won the watch. So we'll see on the awards. I could definitely see that award was given to Kylan King. Hopefully the recovery's getting closer. As we're talking knockouts, Kylan King would be great to see back. And honestly, if they could, Taylor Wilde. It'd be great to see Taylor Wilde return currently to the knockouts roster. Talking about someone that was one to watch this past year. So then we go another segment backstage where we get the ABC going after the tag titles. The Hardys enter the picture saying how they beat the current champions, that they should be involved. So I think we're seeing, I know we've been talking about the past couple of weeks, we're kind of getting all right, ABC's looking for another shot back at the titles, but also the Hardys are now getting into the tag title picture. Feels like this is happening. How soon? We don't know. But by Bound for Glory, I think you might see a couple brothers, and I'm not talking the Good Brothers, as tag team champions. So now we go to the ring to everyone's favorite Canadian, Josh Alexander.
Whoa.
Oh, what? What do you got?
Did you cover the two backstage promos with Leon Slater and Mike Bentley? Or
yeah, that was right
Mike
before
Bailey?
This one. That's
and then the ABC promo with
ABC
Hardy.
promo. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that.
Oh God, I brain farted. Sorry, dude. I just went somewhere. Apparently, I'm back now. We're Josh Alexander. The guy who turned heel just by punching someone in the balls. I've today, being 3 weeks out of watching, as you can imagine, this segment with Eric Young was baffling. because
come on out, EY. Come on out.
For me, this was no different than Tommy Dreamer trying to convince us that Bubba Bully Ray was like a good guy.
You can trust them.
And I'm like, wait a minute, Eric Young. Isn't Josh Alexander Billy Badass now because he punched Joe Hendry in the nuts? Like, he's that guy. He's so bad now. You know what I mean? So why would you come out and be like, oh, you're a good guy. Let's hug it out. And not
like, how you like these nuts.
How do you like these nuts?
Oh, you're triggering.
I am not. Sorry, I'm not vibing with. I was like dying for Josh Alexander to turn heel, and now they did. I'm like, what are they doing? What is this? This is like the nicest guy in the world trying to be mean. Like, it's just not believable.
I will say this. I was 100% with you when they first did it, and like the first week or two after they did it, it's like I can't do it. I can't see Josh like that. Then I thought some of his promos, like kind of his like, hey, I'm not any different. You changed. I thought that was a great approach to it. Hey,
holding the mirror.
You changed, fans. I'm still the same guy. Screw you. Like, I thought that was a good approach to being the heel. I thought that could work for him. But yeah, I know like people are saying it there, like Barry here, like saw that coming that double cross a mile away. I think
it's like watching maple syrup be mean.
Now,
what?
I will agree to that. But then we saw, because we got the impromptu tag team of Eric Young and Steve Macklin at Victory Road, where like it's all about respect. Like they're respecting each other.
And I like that.
So he came in for the save, right?
Yeah.
But then I do agree with the whole double cross was not maybe the most believable.
I didn't know they were homies like that, bro. Like, I was so stumped.
But then I do give credit for this because I think this is a good angle for Josh to make him more of that believable heel, giving him a faction. And that's where Sinner and Saint, who we thought were two good Canadian lads, come into the picture. Once again, getting new signings into an angle. That's what kind of we said for other people. And we've never seen Josh in this role of having a group. So he's now the head of a group. Like he has his own little posse now. Now, once again, we see that it's a wrestling trope. It happens. But I think it's to make him more that believable heel that we're so used to good guy Josh, even though he was a heel with the North as tag champions. But
he
everybody
he didn't talk.
No, Ethan was the guy talking.
Ethan was the mouthpiece.
So once again, I think adding that element, I'm intrigued to see where they go with it. Like people are talking about, like, is it a new Team Canada? Or like what do they do with it? Like I know it's TNA and I'm the number one offender of always saying Team Canada 2.0.
Can you really?
No, I don't think they'll do Team Canada.
Without Scott Moore, you can't touch that.
They might just happen to all be Canadian, but they're going to be something else.
Team Maple Syrup.
There you go. So, yeah.
You're right, they're all Canadian, right?
Yeah, they're all Canadian. They're Timbits, Team Timbits. So we got all that. We do get Santino talking to Steph about we talked earlier about her neck surgery, when they're interrupted by Matt Cardona, that mid Cardona. And we get a match. We talked about the digital media title earlier with Pico, otherwise known as PCO. Booked for Bound for Glory. We get a match. Monsters Ball, digital media title match. Matt Cardona, PCO in Detroit. So we'll see what happens there. I'm a big PCO guy, but I could see Matt Cardona. That is the belt that he was born to wear, the digital media title. So it would not shock me if we saw that. Now we get knockouts action next. We talked about her earlier, Heather Reckless against Xia Brookside in a match here. We get during the match an appearance by Iceman and Ash by Elegance. And then stuff happens. Alicia, let us know what you thought of this match and what happened during this match.
I think it was a good win for Heather Reckless.
Yeah, she needed it. She needed it to establish herself. And there's the whole history with obviously Xia and Ash. So it made sense.
Right, and obviously, because again, missing a couple of weeks, Heather Reckless helped Ash in a match. Is that where the connection is coming from? Okay.
Yeah. So, and
listen
to this, because we know.
No, I already know. I had a long discussion about this. I'd rather not.
Well, we know we've seen it so many times in matches, and kudos to the refs like Daniel Spencer that when stuff like that gets involved, they're very quick to try to like get rid of stuff and all. But I've never seen it played up in a match like it was played up intentionally. It felt like it was being used in this match. Kind of crazy, but
I mean, because it was obvious they were there.
It was obvious they were there.
Is that why she wore them, to use them like a weapon?
I don't think so.
Because it was very obvious.
That was the. I guess that's what they decided to audible to during the match. It felt because I don't think it was intentional, but it almost felt that way because it just happened so much.
Yeah,
It was kind of
yeah.
wild. So I don't know if it was by accident at first, but then maybe played into it a little bit.
And that's what you should do, though, because in case it happens, you incorporate it in the match. Like,
I thought it was dealt with. That's the only reason I bring it up. I thought the way they dealt with it was interesting.
Yeah, that way we don't get a "you fucked up" chant, because those are the worst.
Those are the worst. Although that's a tough one for me because I feel I was at the creation of that in the ECW arena during my youth. And that was where that was a badge of honor for that crowd. Because it wasn't overused, but it was like, if you did something bad, it happened. There's David Penzer, the legend, in the chat. Stuck in the dark, thanks to Helen. Please entertain me. David, stay safe. Sorry to hear about the power. Hopefully you got everything
charged up.
Still relatively calm, yeah. But yeah, so we will try. We will try to entertain you as best we can. But thank you for taking your time in the dark to listen to us. Always appreciated to have the legend hanging out with us. And your good buddy Daniel Spencer may or may not be around still. He was in the chat a little while ago. So we know they always get into some fun shenanigans in the chat. So it's main event time. And it's a big one. Number one contender, Frankie Kazarian, Joe Hendry, winner of this match, going to Bound for Glory to face Nick Nemeth, who happens to be on color commentary.
What could go
As
wrong?
I say that, shut up, Penzer, from Daniel Spencer. These two. It's like he never left. So I know this is going to get some people. I know people have been hitting at it in the chat because this match had two finishes. One, if you were a fan of the one guy, and the another one if you were a fan of the other guy. But overall, what did you think of the match, Alicia? Of the number one contenders with Mr. King of Serotonin, Frankie Kazarian.
I thought it was good. I thought it was fun.
The man we believe in. The man we believe in, Joe Hendry.
We love a good pair of knucks appearing in a match. Causing the downfall, ultimately.
Oh, there you go. We're breaking fame in the chat. Honestly, Penzer, please stay safe, my friend. There you love to see it. You love to see it. No respect for the king of TNA from J-Bone. But yeah, there were some knucks. Daniel Spencer was reffing this match. But never have we, because I'll tell you, I was shocked. I know we talked about it, but originally the match went to Kazarian. Frankie Kazarian won the match and was going to be headed to Bound for Glory as number one contender.
He was going to be the king of TNA, bro.
It's going to be the king of TNA.
But
and I was shocked. I'm like, it's happening. It's happening. What's going on?
It was not.
And then everybody was turning. Santino doing the good work and getting the match restarted. Well, actually, it was Paige. Paige came out, Ref Paige, to confirm what everyone was saying, that the knucks were used. So
yeah. Oops.
So I think, once again, good job by the official. You got to get it right. It's like instant replay. You got to get it right, especially something like this. Like, it's too big of an opportunity. Like, not saying not all matches are important, but you're talking number one contender, main event, Bound for Glory. You got to get it right. Allegedly, listen to J-Bone. He is at the feet of the king of TNA right now. I can't take it. Critical Sting. This is just like when Santino debuted at Hard to Kill 2023 to restart a Hendry match versus Moose after Moose cheated. Good callback, Sting. But that is what the authority figure gets involved for, like these type of decisions, major decisions. When titles are on the line or implications, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I think that's where, if you're going to have this, you need to. The king of what? That's right. He's the king. He's king nothing. King nothing. Not even the king of serotonin. He lost that claim. He does not acknowledge serotonin anymore, Alicia.
Yeah, rough. Rough times for Frankie.
Yeah, that's where's your crowd? I see no crowd. Like, Alicia, let me know your thoughts on this, because this is what I feel like I've been talking to a wall named J-Bone lately. How can you call yourself a king and not wear a crown of any kind? You just wear sunglasses and a scarf.
Is the scarf the crown? You gotta get a crown
around your head like a bandana. Like, he doesn't even have a bandana on.
He doesn't even do that. I guess the sunglasses might be the crown.
I don't know. You got to do more. You can't just have it on your jacket, king of TNA. You gotta be a king. You gotta be a king.
Do kingly shit.
Well, and they did the king. Remember, they did the tournament. What was it? 2 years ago, 3 years ago now, maybe. For the they what was it, a plus special at the time, and they did a king and queen, and that's where you run from it. Now this is one where I know you kind of ripped the fans earlier for some of their chants, but this is where they did some good callbacks.
Yeah,
because they were doing the chant, the dad from Spy Kids. They were doing like all the Joe Hendry song lyrics. Like that this was good. They were very good during this match. And that's right. Matthew Raywald. Yeah, the homecoming. They were homecoming king and queen. But Matthew Raywald is the king. Like maybe that's the thing. If maybe Raywald, although he definitely roots for Kazarian, he's like the one guy rooting for Kazarian. Matthew Smith saying crowns are perhaps outdated. Does King Charles constantly wear a crown? No, I think only during ceremonial purposes. So true in that. But I think in wrestling, you need to wear a crown. Every king in wrestling I know of had a crown at some point. And Deanna is the queen. See, she's the queen. So come on. If he keeps this up, I want an actual, like, he needs to give himself a ceremony. At least be a self-made king. Give me some type of segment where he gets crowned by a former king of wrestling. Maybe with a TNA tie. Heck,
we'll see.
Bring in Jerry Lawler for a one-off and have him be like, I name you King Frankie. So, but until then, he gets nothing. But, all right, that's enough of the Frankie Kazarian. Because the match restarted. And what happened? Joe Hendry happened. The viral star. The 252 pounds of pure motivation. The answer to all life's problems. Joe Hendry is now your number one contender. He's going to Bound for Glory. He's facing Nicky Nemeth for the strap. Alicia, initial thoughts on this Bound for Glory main event made tonight on Impact?
It'll be what it'll be.
Well, what do you think? Do you think we're going to get a new champion? Early thoughts? Or do you think Nick?
That's actually a tough call. I don't know.
All right. I think that's, well, let us know in the chat. What do you think after this? Do you think we're going to get a new champion? Do you think this is the final match? Like, do you think it will just be Nick versus Joe? Or based on what we saw during the match, does Frankie Kazarian have a claim in being involved in this match? Might he still get a shot through some reason? Could someone else fight their way into this match? Let us know your thoughts. Let us know in the comments if you're watching or listening to this later. So, but that's the show. Bound for Glory. We got some matches made tonight. We know we get a Monsters Ball now. We get go with J-Bo back there going Kaz interferes. Dr. Gerbs, new champ. We know he's not a fan of the current world champion. Since we have the referee in the chat right now, I got to bring up, because I just saw Frankie Kazarian posted this an hour ago. I was merely trying to show the referee that Nick Nemeth put brass knuckles in my ring jacket, and Joe Hendry's big-ass pumpkin head got in the way. But I'm the bad guy. This is a travesty. I'm not going anywhere. Hashtag King of TNA. Daniel Spencer, would you like to respond to the comments of one Frankie Kazarian? Should give him the same response most people do. King Wood? Just double checking, making sure there's no other late news as we go off here. But any final thoughts on the episode? What'd you think of overall for tonight's episode, Alicia?
I thought it was good, fast paced, to the point.
I think that's the key. When it moves fast, sign of a good show. Like if you're like that went quick, it's just like everything else. A good movie, a good TV show, a good wrestling program, or occasionally a good podcast. If it goes quickly, if it flows, that's always a sign that you pace it right. The quality was there. It was an enjoyable experience. Definitely think that was the case. Once again, by being there, I think the crowd in San Antonio, fantastic, good venue. I guarantee they'll be back next year. So anybody locally that was there or wants to head out there right now, I am not in South Carolina. I am in the home studio in PA right now. Obviously, the plan was I was going to be heading down to South Carolina tomorrow, driving. But obviously, due to the change last night, luckily, very quick, because I believe if I didn't cancel by midnight, I would have been charged, would have been able to cancel my hotel room. I was able to change that, and now I'll obviously be heading out on Sunday. So still be there, but I do know, some friends that I know that, I know one guy from D.C., he was already in South Carolina last night, so I feel for him because that's just that's just an extra couple days. You're and I think he's going to miss a day. A friend from the UK thinks they're going to still be able to make Sunday, but definitely not make Monday. So, but once again, you got to do what you got to do. But once again, everybody, David Penzer down in Florida. I know we had some people in Georgia. Anybody affected by the storms, definitely hunker down, be safe. Make sure you have everything you need. But definitely the TNI fab here, all hoping everyone comes out of that without much damage or any other issues. But once again, Alicia, thanks. Great to see you feeling better. We missed you here at the TNI show. J-Bode, thanks for hanging out in the chat there. Behind the dials on the ones and the twos. Definitely hope to see you, and definitely want to give a shout out to our friends in the UK, the TNI UK team. I was hoping to make an appearance, but I just got slammed with stuff yesterday. But they had their 200th episode, the TNI UK crew, so just definitely want to give a shout out to them, the big TNI fab out there. So once again, everybody, if you enjoyed the show, please give us a like, follow, ring that bell for notifications. If you're on the Twitch, hey, if you have Amazon Prime, feel free. You can subscribe to us. It's free with Amazon Prime. So if you're not following one of our other good friends on Twitch, like Gia, Havoc, do it for the TNI show. We would appreciate it. And don't forget, support our sponsor, Manscaped. You know that promo code, Alicia, for 20% off, free shipping.
TNI.
You know, when you need to manscape out that broken glass from an indie show, it's helpful.
Yeah.
It's got a flashlight too. Don't forget the flashlight.
It's got a flashlight, which is pretty powerful.
So, but once again, thanks everybody for joining us. Depending on what happens, maybe next Tuesday we'll be back for the NXT TNA coverage, but we'll see, because I might be very out of commission next Tuesday because I'll probably be fresh off a drive back from South Carolina the night before. So I'll probably be working and then trashed out Tuesday night. But if not, we'll see you next Thursday to go over a new set of tapings and another Impact Wrestling here on the TNI show. So once again, everybody, thanks. Enjoyed seeing everyone. Leave your comments and make sure join us next time, next Thursday, for some more total nonstop Impact. Good night, everybody.